Will food forests take over the way gardeners and the world grow food? A recognizable harmony that seems to be working incredibly well. Why fruit trees growing amongst other plants taste better and grow better. Fruit trees sticking their stems out of the understory growth are less prone to disease and illness. Their roots are protected from the sun. A sweeter fruit that actually tastes like an orange. Fruits taste the way they're supposed to taste. The trees themselves are part of a diverse ecosystem, living incredibly well and doing incredibly well. Food forests engulf all types of life.
Okay, so we've experienced something very magical. I have never built a food forest before, but I'm experiencing some things that I want to share with others. So when we plant these fruit trees inside many other plants, they grow way faster. They grow way stronger. They produce more fruit, and the fruit is way more uh, delicious and just way more energetic. And the way I explain it is that this tree, this fruit tree, there's many of these tomata de arbol in the property, but this fruit tree is part of this ecosystem. So all these plants that are next to it are influencing the diversity of this tree and the diversity of the fruit. The fruit is tasting a lot different as well because it has the energy from everything around in the fruit. So that makes a big difference when you're growing them inside of a system. Okay, so this is a very different type of gardening when you have your fruit trees mixed in with everything else. Um, Here's another fruit tree. I don't even know where this came from. It's growing so fast. This guava here is doing the same thing again. It has actually created two branches and it's growing up really fast. So there is something to be said about growing these plants right in the middle of a garden instead of having them separate by themselves, stand alone. This makes a huge difference. I don't know, it's quite hard to explain how they have such explosive growth in such a short time. There is a comfort to this. It has to be the fact that these plants feel incredibly comfortable growing in these spaces like this. Makes such a difference having them amongst other plants growing so well. Okay. Okay, this is an aromatic plant that we use in our horchatas. So it's hard to explain this type of growth. Like it's really hard when these plants just explode like this. And this idea of a plant feeling comfortable and part of something really makes a big difference with these plants. They do incredibly well, incredibly fast. They do have a problem is that they're very soft growth. You got to pay a lot of attention, put a lot of attention in that. You see how soft these are? Incredibly soft because they're growing so incredibly fast. So that's one drawback. So there's one more thing I need to explain. This is a avocado, and what I want to explain is that we start them off in this space where there's other life. We don't have them by themselves for many years. They start off in this space, competing, living, and using the energy of other plants to grow incredibly fast. This here was from a seed that we harvested ourselves. We have many apple trees, many pear trees that were doing the same thing. We basically eat the fruit, stick it in the ground after we've eaten it, and these guys take off like crazy. It's insane how quick these guys go. It's interesting that they fit in right away. They're not fighting. They're actually benefiting from having all this energy around them. This will outgrow this space, and these will turn into complete understory plants. So the fact that they're shooting out of something gives them the ability to provide shade for everything else. So it might be the fact that these plants that are underneath it understand that this is the most important one to end up with shade. So they're allowing it to grow incredibly well. It's a symbiotic relationship, and these plants might benefit these guys to be the shade providers. So they might know that this tree has the ability to grow higher than themselves. So they help it be a very prolific plant. So food forests have this very strange ability to help every plant in the system along. And I think that's why food forests are going to be the future for gardening, even in cold climates. This idea of having plants work together so well is incredibly important. Okay.